It's out. It's finally out. Automobilista 2 has finally released out of early access. We are now in 1.0, and today we are finally going to get to drive what Reiza Studios have wanted us to drive for a very long time, which is their sequel to Automobilista. And I'm very excited. We're here at Bathurst, one of the new tracks, in the Ginetta G55 GT4 car, one of the new cars, and we're going to be battling 31 improved AI around this absolute monster of a circuit. I'm definitely going to crash, but the question is how much? We're starting at the back. AI are on 100%, 50%, as I always have them. Recommended settings. I've been spending all morning playing with this game, getting it all configured, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So let's hop into the race and see how far up the grid we can get. So, just trying not to mess up the start. We didn't. Let's see if we can at least get a couple coming into turn one. One of the most difficult places to overtake, I think, on this track is turn one, because it is so narrow. But luckily, the AI got a little bit scared. So, when I say that they're improved, I do not mean that they are perfect. However, they are so much better. Lap 1, I can survive, so checkbox number 1, and second of all, I can actually race them, checkbox number 2. Would I say that they are difficult to overtake? No. Would I say that they are particularly safe drivers in the grand scheme of, human drivers? No. But would I say that they are fun AI to drive against? Definitely. And lap 1 performance does not ruin the entire race, as we be a bit cheeky and kind of play a bit of bumper cars trying to get past the slow AI. They will massively improve over the course of this race. You'll see lap 1 they're a little bit sketchy, lap 2 they're pretty good, and by lap 3 they're up to pace and we're having to actually fight through the pack, which is what I like to see. I think the difficulty is a little bit too low for me here, but I'm not very good at the game, so I want some AI that I can catch when I inevitably crash, which is probably going to be into that wall right there. So, Bathurst. Having Bathurst in this game is so nice. It's one of my favourite tracks in any game. I'm not very good at it, but I don't know whether anybody is particularly good at Bathurst. I think you just sort of survive, you drive around it and hope that you don't crash. It's amazing, and this version is so much fun to drive. Can I speak to accuracy? No. People say that the iRacing one is pretty accurate. I have not driven the iRacing one, so I have no idea whether this is close to that. It seems pretty similar to the ACC one, so if that's a good version, I guess this is a good version. I assume that version is laser scanned. I have no idea whether this version is laser scanned, but oh my, okay, that was that was terrifying. Don't worry, my seat is still dry, right. And the Ginetta GT4 as well. I love GT4 cars, and so being able to drive something like this in this game really lets the physics and the force feedback shine. There's been a lot of talk as to whether or not this game is good or not, whether this is just a Project Cars 2 clone, whether this is nearly as good as Automobilista 1. Now, having barely driven Automobilista 1, I can't speak to that last point, but in terms of whether the game drives well, whether it feels good, and whether it's better than Project Cars 2, all of those things are a resounding yes. I mean, this car is a point of direct comparison to that game, so you're actually able to, in fact, this car and track combo is a direct comparison to that game, and so being able to just see how much more predictable and intuitive the physics and force feedback are in this game is amazing as we go too wide over the mountain. Not really the best thing to do, but we managed to make it stick. I don't like turning the AI aggressiveness up too much. He might have hung it around the outside there with a higher AI aggression, but the problem is I do find they tend to go for moves they shouldn't with a higher aggression. So I would much rather up the pace and basically have to work more for my overtakes than up the aggression and be able to fight them through corners like that, because really I don't want to get killed by the AI. In terms of new content though, there's actually quite a lot in this game. So we've got we've got a few new tracks. We've got Bathurst, we've got is it Brasilia? Is that what it's called? And there's a few new historic layouts for various tracks. We've got some new cars, so we've got this lovely GT4 car, which I feel like is going to be a personal favourite of mine. We've then got some 70s F1 cars. Now, there's a whole host of them. An entire class of 70s F1 cars. And the interesting thing about them is they're not just called Formula 76, or I think it's 1976, something like that. They're not just called a generic name like that. 3 of them are official content. We have a McLaren, we have a Brabham, and we have a Lotus. And so having those supposedly real F1 cars in the game is pretty exciting, and that's going to be some content that I'm going to be investigating a little bit more, and you know, testing out the damage model, no doubt. As we test out the damage model in the Ginetta, luckily we have nice big plastic bumpers, so we're not going to damage anything too vital, I don't think, by bump drafting like that. Can I just say, Bathurst is amazing. Every time I come through this mountain section up here, I get reminded of how much fun this track is. AI seem to spook themselves a little bit on some of the higher speed corners. Makes it a little bit too easy to overtake through there, but never mind. Perhaps a higher difficulty is required, but I want to try and get up into the top 10, top 5, see how high we can get during this race. So it's quite useful, the AI being slow. So other than new cars and tracks, we also have an entirely new game mode. We have championships. And other than, in terms of future videos that I'm going to make on this game, other than a full review, I'm also going to be making a series of sort of a pseudo-career mode, I guess. There's not really an official career mode as far as I can tell in this game, but that championship mode will definitely mean that I can kind of simulate one. So I'm going to go through and test out, I'm going to test out a lot of cars and a lot of tracks and decide on a few good combinations, put them in there, pick a car class that I can take through a long career. I also want to drive more in VR. VR is actually how I normally race. Driving like this in 2D is a little bit weird for me. So I'm going to try and put some videos up in VR. Maybe I will do that championship in VR, simply because it's, you know, my preferred way to drive. The problem is obviously when I'm talking and driving and looking around in VR, your view is all over the place, so I don't want to give people seasickness while I'm driving. But really, what I would say is the biggest thing about this update is just that consistency in the quality of the content. All the tracks are polished and high quality. All of the cars are fun to drive and have great force feedback and make sense. Some of the default setups, still weird. I still wish that there were per track default setups, but as far as I can tell it's just a car default setup. But never mind. There is, I believe there's a multiplayer rating system as well. and if there's not, I'm sure I'll just put something on the screen telling you that there isn't, but having that really will open up the multiplayer a little bit more. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that the Linux server client has arrived, which they said that it would be, but never mind. I'm sure it'll arrive eventually. They have said that this 1.0 release has a few things that aren't fully 100% where they would like them. But they clearly just wanted to release before the end of June. I mean, that'll be, business things. They've got shareholders and investors and stuff. I would imagine that they need to be appeasing. And so delaying it until July just to polish a few minor things would probably cost them a lot more than a few decimal points on a review score. But it is worth noting that this is not quite as polished as they would like it to be. But as far as I'm concerned, this feels easily as polished as Project Cars 2, which came out of a much bigger studio, if not more polished, to be honest. Simply because the cars drive way more consistently. I really don't want to overtake here, but whatever. We're doing it. So, I'm having a great time. I think that you would have a great time if you picked up this game. Okay, we'll concede that place. That was a little bit cheeky. Yeah, I'm loving it. There's nothing more to say, really. I'm just loving it. The AI really are slow through there. I can go flat out through there, but they seem to lift quite a lot and then be very slow to get on the throttle. They did say that was one of the improvements that they made to the AI was throttle application. So I'm guessing that they've made it a little bit faster at getting the power down, but still not perfect. That bit of the track is always so terrifying. Coming down the hill there, all the weight is on the nose of the car, and you can just feel the rear just like shifting around while you're braking. It's a lot of fun. As we are about to move into the top 10, only halfway through the race. I just went for a 7th gear, but this car doesn't have one. Side by side, can we get him? He's still there. There we go. That's an overtake. So, 5 laps left, 10 places to gain. Can we do a last to first here at Bathurst? I would say that I'm quite glad that they decided to release the game rather than just, spend even longer polishing it. This game was meant to release back in... Was it meant to release in May? It's been a while anyway. But obviously due to current events, they've had to delay a lot of the development. Things have slowed down, things have been more complicated, which is more than fair enough. But it has, I think, given them time to take more feedback on certain aspects. I think some of the cars, they've taken them in a different direction in terms of the way that they've sorted out the handling. And I think having the opportunity to listen more to the community on their forums, and improve the game like that, I think it has benefited the final product quite a lot. Oh, we hit the wall. Okay, that's going to ruin me all the way down this straight. We're going to get overtaken by this guy, I suspect. I'm going to stay over here, because no matter what I do, he's going to draft past me. Will he? Will he? Maybe not. Okay. Right then, what position we're in? We're in 6th. We can see all the cars ahead of me. So we've not got much time that we need to gain in order to overtake these guys. So let's put our game face on and try and overtake them. I'm really enjoying racing the AI. I know that I've said this already, but those minor tweaks, the incremental improvements that they've made since earlier on in early access when the AI were a bit terrifying, it's made a world of difference. And being able to race against them like this, and know what they're going to do, and they react like they should. I mean, you compare this to a lot of other simulators and their AI, I mean, it's night and day. Oh my god, we're already in 4th. I don't think that we're going to be making any overtakes up here though, are we? Okay, we're going to be making an overtake because he went a little bit wide. Top 3, so we're on the podium. Can we overtake? And then get some... Okay. We might have been able to overtake this lap, but I think that just ruined us slightly. Oh god. Okay. I don't think I've got any damage from that, but I was getting a little bit of understeer there. The tyres are starting to wear down. You can just see in the bottom right there those green squares. Those are the tyres. Green is the temperature, and then the wear is like how much colour is filled up in the box, I guess. There we go, that was a better run through that. You've really got to turn in early and get as close to that inside wall as possible and run it all the way out. Because you need to get a good exit onto the straight, otherwise you're just ruined. Like, Bathurst is a very strange track to set up a car for, as we're going to have to lift off and let these guys do their thing. The two AI side by side. Will we be able to capitalise? I don't think so, because they're still side by side and I don't want to get into a massive accident with the top 3. Yeah, it's a weird track to set up for, because you think, oh well, I need good cornering ability over the mountain. You need high-speed cornering ability, downforce over some of those faster crested left-handers, as these guys are still side by side. Whoever said the AI don't race each other? Alright, we're gonna get him here. We're gonna get him. Are we gonna get him? We're boxed in. We're boxed in. I'm not sure we are gonna get him. This is not where I want to be. This is not where I want to be. I'm having to lift. Can't go 3 wide into there. We're going to have to try and find a way around these guys. Currently, they're just blocking the way. There we go. A double overtake, and we are past. Sorry, I just have to look over the wheel to see where the proximity indicator is there. I would usually run crew chief, so in most other sims I'll run crew chief, but for some reason crew chief isn't working for me with this game. I'll need to investigate why. It's never worked in early access, and it's not working in the final release either, so I'll have to investigate it. I'm sure that it's a setting on my end, because it is supposed to support it. And I don't like the... I don't actually know... Is there an in-game spotter? There's an option for it in the menu, so I assume there is, but I've never actually heard it. I always have it turned off. I didn't like it in Project Cars 2, so I just immediately turned it off in this game. But I am a fan of having a spotter. One thing that I would like is, instead of those proximity indicators, if they could implement a sort of radar view. So in Assetto Corsa, if you've ever used Helicorsa, or in ACC, I think they've actually built in a radar into the game, which is basically just Helicorsa. It shows you all of the cars around you, how close they are by the colour, and it fades in and out of existence. If there's nobody around you, it fades away so that you don't have something blocking your view. Right, should we try and go for a couple of hot laps here? See how fast we can get around Bathurst in this GT4. Already gained a lot of time now that we're not following any AI as we kind of pitch it into turn 1, which is not what we want to do. The car's quite lively. I think there's a little bit of setup work to be done on this thing, to be honest, but it's good fun nonetheless. It really doesn't like heavy braking. If you brake too hard and pitch the car in too much, you can really struggle on turning. Okay, we're going to have to move the brake bias back one a little bit, I think. Take it back to 62. See if that improves things. See, now we can really open the car up now that we've got some clean air and brush the wall. Right, so it should be a blend through this corner like that. A blend over the crest and then flat through the turn. Ooh, that was more than a little bit sketchy. I always brake too early over there. And I always downshift too much because I need to be in second coming out of there. I also know that I'm definitely shifting too late. And that was slow through there. See, look, we're losing time. Mountain was terrible. We must have gained a bit in the high speed, but other than that, terrible. So, what's our best lap time so far? Our best is a 2:21.7. I know that I can do a 2:20.0 because I did that in practice earlier today. 1.7 seconds is a lot though. But then again, clean air makes a big difference. We don't have to draft down the straight though, so there is that. I think I just need to stay in second for that corner. I always shift down to first and it's just a waste of time. Problem is the car's turbocharged, so okay. Not how I wanted to go through that corner, but I guess we're drifting. I guess that answers the question, can you drift the car? Yes, you can. Automobilista 2 will let you drift a GT4 Ginetta. A lot of people tend to equate the quality of the physics to whether or not you can drift a car. Ooh, we locked up the fronts there again. But I think quite a lot too much weight is given on how controllable a slide is. Like, I agree, you should be able to drift like you would in real life, but a lot of the time we're not driving cars that can drift in real life. Like, this car has slicks. It shouldn't be able to drift in real life. And so the fact that you can hold a slide, but you can't actually pitch it in and get crazy angles and drift it through corners, that's good. That proves that the physics is treating the tyre like it should be. So we clout the wall again. So, as I said earlier, I'm planning on making a lot more videos in this game. And I would definitely like to hear any suggestions if people want to see things. I definitely want to highlight a lot more content. I definitely want to highlight VR and different weather conditions on different tracks. I want to do a championship series, so a series of videos running through a championship. I think that'd be quite fun. And I'm definitely going to do a full review of the game once I've got a few more hours in the final version, so that I can formulate my thoughts on that a little bit better. But for now, in terms of initial impressions, I am so pleased with this game. I think AMS2, since its release in early access, has shot up to nearly the top, if not the top, of my favourite sims, and 1.0 has not disappointed. Bathurst, amazing. The GT4 car, amazing. Some of the other content's great as well. They have a Ginetta LMP1 car, that's fantastic as well. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. We're probably going to take a nice slow in-lap here. So yes, I hope you enjoyed the video. And any of you that are driving Automobilista 2, now that it's released, let me know. What do you think? I'm having a great time, as I keep saying, but I know that different people have different tastes, so let me know that down below, and hopefully I'll see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.